Hey, thanks for tuning in to the Land and Home Show. Today we are ranking Kentucky's agricultural land with my new cat, Dusty. I'm Stephen J.V. Davis, your land specialist and residential realtor, and here's my cat Dusty, which there he is. We have an outdoor cat, which ideally should live in the barn, but he has a mind of its own, so he kind of lives close to the house, and we'll figure out what happens during the winter. We have a few plans for him, but he's a little kitten. I think he is a Manx cat. And as much as I never thought I'd want a cat, I am totally in love with this little dude. Hi, buddy. So today, I wanted to talk about this because obviously I think that farming is very important, and I also just want to help anyone who is interested in buying land understand what it is they're asking for depending on the kind of land they buy. I mean, land, I've talked often about how it is not like a house. There's such a thing as highest and best use. When you have a house, the highest and best use is to live in it, and so you compare it to other houses. When you have land, the highest and best use can vary depending on the characteristics of that land. It could be agricultural land, it could be land that used to be agricultural, but maybe the best use now is to turn it into a bunch of residences, which of course garners a very high price. It could be recreational land. And so within the agricultural categorization of highest and best use, especially in Kentucky, there are still other uses. You don't use all farms are not the same. I've made a video on that. There are such things as horse farms and cattle farms and all sorts of things like that. So this is just sort of to help you understand, if you go and see a piece of land and its best use is one thing, that may be why it's priced a way that perhaps you don't like or agree with, but it's not priced in a multiple choice way. It's priced for the highest and best use in order to garner the best possible chance for that seller to profit off of selling their land. So it's not always about what you're going to use it for. It's about what its best use is as determined, by an appraiser, by a land specialist, that kind of thing. And so I just want to do one more thing, which is just talk about just how important land, especially in the agricultural world, is here in Kentucky. So first of all, which I think is very cool, over 95% of our farms, regardless of what type of farm, over 95% are owned by real working people, by families. We don't have a lot of corporation-owned farms here yet. Sure, businesses turn their farms into something that's owned by like a family company or something, just good business sense, but there aren't a bunch of faceless people. Listen, ow. Do you want to play? We'll play after, okay? We're a very special place in that way where families still do most of the work here. And then almost $6 billion in 2021 can be attributed to cash receipts. It's not the impact of agriculture. That's just, what did someone pay and what did that farm get? And then when you add all the farms up that got money for their services or products, it's about $6 billion worth of goods, whether it be crops or horses or feed for other types of animals, whatever. And the economic impact, so jobs created and all of the things that are related just because a farm or several farms are in a community or several communities, the impact of farming here in Kentucky is over $50 billion. So when you think about farming in that sense, it's not just about, that local corn you get or that local, milk you get or whatever the case may be. It's also about how it contributes to what we all love about Kentucky. We love a lot of things, and there are a lot of reasons that make this place so good, and farming has a whole lot to do with that. So if you think about it that way, it's another thing to keep in your mind about maybe why farm ground that you might be interested in doesn't really come in as cheap as you want it to. Farming is very, very important here. All right, so starting at number one, the number one agricultural land type is going to be a horse farm, especially thoroughbreds. Thoroughbreds are regularly sold for $3 million all the way up to $25 million for one horse. So very, very big business, very international business, and obviously very important, as Lexington is the horse capital of the world. And where you're going to find a lot of that kind of farming ground is going to be certainly here in Lexington, and then in a few counties around it, like Woodford County and like Bourbon County. And then if you go into like the Louisville side of things, where of course everyone knows the Kentucky Derby is, Jefferson County, which is the county that Louisville is in, that'll have some thoroughbred farms, but Oldham County as well is very rich with horse properties. So number one is definitely horse farms. That's like the tip-top type of farm here in Kentucky. So your number two highest price per acre for farm ground is going to be the row crops here. Our biggest crops in terms of like the amount of cash received overall from all farms put together are going to be soybeans and corn. And most of that, I've talked about this in past videos as well. Most of this is going to be in Western Kentucky in terms of really, really large pieces of ground, 1,000 acres, 2,000 acres, that kind of thing. There's corn here in this central part of Kentucky, but the farms they're not as big. Same with soybeans, but just not as big. So you're going to find most of the row crop ground, second most expensive per acre for farm ground in the western part. So you're talking like McLean County, I have notes. Christian County, I've never been there, and Graves County. Graves, you may remember, had that awful tornado this past year. In any case, those are enormous contributors to the crop economy that we have in this state, and row crop ground in general is going to garner a pretty high price per acre, and that's of course going to depend on where you are in the state and that type of thing, how big of a property it is. And then third is going to be everything to do with like pasture land and cattle land. I mean, they're kind of one and the same. Granted, a lot of our huge beef production, or like when you start talking about cattle here, we're talking about the sale of cattle and like the sale of beef, but in order to be able to do that, you have to feed them. Therefore, most places that cattle are raised in this state are going to be raised on a lot of pasture land. And so that's the third most expensive price per acre you're going to find here in Kentucky. And that's kind of scattered about. One of those places is very close to Lexington. It borders the southern part of Lexington, or Fayette County, and that county is Madison County. Huge beef producer. Dusty, do you want to go? 1 second. Here. And now he doesn't want to go in. Madison County, huge beef producer. Same with Barron County, Warren County, Pulaski County. If you remember from a past video, I had an interview with JJ. JJ is a cousin, in a manner of speaking, and he has a farm down in Pulaski. So his county, where Somerset is, they're a big beef producer. So the cattle can be kind of spread about in Kentucky, but that's going to be where you find your third most expensive value per acre in farm ground. And then after that, everything else sort of just is all in a category together. I mean, we have some decent, I think we make some broilers here that account for $9 billion of economic impact as far as agriculture goes. But a lot of that can be found all over the county. And then there's other places that grow certain crops for feed of other animals, but that does not garner as high of a price necessarily as if you were growing, human grade like corn or soybean or something, or what that corn is going to be used for, what that soybean is going to be used for, because you don't just grow corn and then make ethanol. You don't just grow soybeans and, I don't know, eat them. There's different species, and that's all very scientific and not the point of this video. So, you know, that last farm application, that fourth most expensive, is probably going to be the catch-all for all the other types of crops that you grow, but not necessarily for human consumption or big consumption of like oil companies and things like that. And then this isn't agricultural, but in that fifth spot is where you put the recreational land. Recreational land, sometimes, you know, you have something that's reclaimed coal land where the ground is not very good, but there's a lot of it. And so you can go ahead and just toss the agricultural stuff to the side, and what's left is that recreational purpose, unless it for some reason makes sense to like build a bunch of houses on it. You just want to be close to me. In any case, that's where you'd put that fifth most expensive idea, and that can of course range depending on what part of the state you're in. We have elk in some part of the state that can make land more expensive than it generally is, and that'd be in eastern Kentucky. We have prized deer in northern Kentucky and some parts of like central Kentucky, which could potentially raise the price for that recreational price per acre. So recreational land has its own, I guess, subcategories or items that can raise its value or lower its value, just like anything else. So with that, I will be done. I think my kitten wants to play. He's growing very fast, and I've got work left to do. So I'm going to get out of here. I hope you found this helpful, and we'll see you soon. Got a few things I've already recorded that I just haven't posted, so watch out for those. Turn on your notifications. Please like, subscribe, share with people, and follow me on Instagram at landandhomes.co, never.com, and we will talk later. Peace.